Most people buy call options by just paying money up front and hoping the stock goes up. But one thing I like to do is a little different. I like to structure some bullish trades where I sell a long-dated cash secured put and use the premium from that put to help pay for the long-term call option, also known as a Leaps call. Now, this isn't a beginner strategy, so don't hear this and think, oh, let me just go and copy this tomorrow. The point is to understand how options can be structured if you know what you're doing. Here's the basic idea along with how I actually used it recently. After doing my analysis, I was bullish on UPS stock. It was trading at around $99 per share at that time, but I didn't want to just buy shares at that price. Just in case if I'm wrong, I looked for a lower strike price where I would actually be comfortable owning the stock if it dropped. I was comfortable at buying UPS shares at $85. So I sold the cash secured put at that lower strike and collected $1,109 in premium. Now, instead of just keeping that premium, I used some of it to buy a long-term call option. That gives me upside exposure if the stock moves higher over time. Buying that upside cost me $1,000. So I actually got paid a credit of $109 just to enter that trade with the way I structured it. Now, the trade gives me two interesting angles. If the stock goes up, the Leaps call can benefit. If the stock drops, I may end up getting assigned at a lower price that I already chose ahead of time. And depending on how the trade is structured, sometimes I can enter the whole thing for a small debit or even a net credit. In my trade, it was a net credit. I got paid to enter the trade. Here's how the trade played out. UPS stock did go up as I was expecting from my research. The put I had sold to collect premium made around 33% of the premium collected, and the Leaps call that I purchased that didn't cost me anything additional was up over 51% when I closed out the trade in just a little over 2 months. But again, this only makes sense if I'm comfortable with the risk, because selling a put means I need to be ready to buy the shares if assigned, and buying the Leaps call still has risk if the stock goes the wrong way or takes too long to move. But I'm not worried because the Leaps call that I purchased was from the premium that I collected, so it didn't cost me any additional money out of pocket. That's why I always say options are not about gambling on direction. They're about structure. They're about risk. They're about asking, how can I build a trade that matches my outlook without going all in? That's the part most beginners miss. I share all of this in much more detail inside my trading community. Join from the link in my bio if you want to learn how I think through real option strategies, not just textbook definitions.